Hello, everybody. All right, getting ready for hopefully some movement down on gold. It's been pretty much all week since that's happened. All right, so for today, I'm looking at the CPI data for the CAD to hopefully move the USD as well. How's it going? Good morning from the Pacific. All right, so it's hard to tell what's going to happen with this data coming out here in 10 minutes. It's the first high impact data really for the week that's meaningful on any of the major pairs. The USD's been moving down, at least over the last few hours on most pairs. But I'm also in a trade on the US 30, and that's actually been pushing down since I took my entry at the beginning of the week. I expect this to continue down after the high impact data releases. I just don't know how much movement I'll actually see. So like, I'm not expecting this to be like a huge movement down after the data releases, but I do expect it to move down into level 1 and maybe extend slower into this throughout the session, but it's hard to say if this CAD data will actually really move cause the USD to have much of a buy-in. But based on how price is moving right now, how it's the USD is kind of selling off, it could show a buy-in once that data releases. All right, so I'm in pretty deep on gold, 5.5%, so 5.65% currently, and have been in since the beginning of, since the end of last week. So February 16th was when I entered into the market. So this was my first trade entering here. It was actually during my last session, and I ended up holding these trades and closing out some positions along the way. and then still waiting for that pullback to take place. It just hasn't taken place yet. So I ended up closing out these trades and some of these at the end of the week, and then price continued higher. Hit this level, had a small pullback. Wasn't enough to hit my profit. I was still probably about, I think, 50, well, about 70 pips short actually on my take profit level. So I may enter a new trade right before the news hits, right here at the top where price is. I also may wait for the news. I want to play this one out. I'm gonna see how price behaves in the next little bit, and I may enter another position at the top. It'd be about 30 pips difference. What I don't like here is how price pushed above this level 1 and it pushed above both of these. This is where I thought the peak was going to be before the data released, and it's pushed slightly above, and it's kind of like in this no man's land now. It's like in between both these levels, and I've seen this happen before data in the past, high impact data, where it will push just beyond it and then pull back into it once that data releases. And that could happen here where price has a pretty big candle that closes below level 1. And I think that's probably what I'm going to end up doing here, is waiting for the data to release to close below level 1 and then add a position there. But I don't think I'm going to add before, just in case this does end up shooting up, because it's not really at a resistance level. Man, it is pushing up right into the data though. 5 minutes left. It's interesting to see a disconnect happening between the US 30 and Forex and gold. Typically a lot of times when this moves down, especially when the stock market's at like a key level and it's moving down, then Forex pairs will follow suit, as well as gold. But right now that's not the case. So a bit of a correlation difference. It is nice that the US 30 is kind of hedging out my trades on gold, so the drawdown's not nearly as high. It would be shocking to see this move like it's US data. It's acting like it leading into it, with it pushing up straight into this data, this CAD data. So it's a little bit weird to me that I'm seeing this much movement on the upside going into the CAD CPI. All right, about 2 minutes left. I'm still going to refrain from entering another position up here at the top. I want to wait for the data to release first. My guess here is that this move on the upside could be priced in to the data that's releasing. So I might not even see much movement on the at all once the data releases. It could just be this kind of just sits there. That would be a boring session if that's the case. Hey Mad Maniac, how's it going? Alright, just about 10 seconds out. I'm gonna get ready to place my order. If I see any kind of movement down, if this even budges after the data is released, if I see it just even a little bit, I'll enter a position pretty quickly. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna refrain from entering a trade yet. Okay, so it's very negative. That's probably going to push the USD up, in my opinion, but yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so yeah, you can see the correlations how we're way off right now. So USD pushing up against the CAD, but USD pushing down against the Swiss franc. Aussie pushing up against the USD still, and pound also against the USD. So this is looking like a move that's priced in right now, which is not awesome for me. So this is going to go deeper in the drawdown, 6.72. So I'm going to see the next level of resistance is up here at the top, right around 2040. So we'll see how this goes. All right, so my plan here for today is probably a position up here at 2031 at this level 2. But you can see that there's not a whole lot going on from level 2 all the way to level 4. So there's, or where price currently is, there's a lot of spacing to the next level. And this up here may be pretty close. I mean, it would probably be about 15% if price moved all the way up there. My guess is that it would be pretty high drawdown at that point. It probably won't be 15%, but it would probably be close to 10, or just beyond 10%. All right, so that's a rejection on the M1 that's coming in. If it closes like that, I'll take the position, but it didn't close like that. So I want this to be a rejection candle. So there was a small wick at the top, body closed, but it didn't close below the previous candle. So it was just shy of that. It should pull back, or cause a bit of a buy-in for the USD is my guess here. I'd be surprised if gold continues to ride up here. But you know, I work with what is given to me. So if it continues to keep riding up, then I'll adjust accordingly. But I'll be probably a little bit more sparing with the trades that I take in this area. So this will probably be the last level that I take all the way up until level 4. I'm going to start minimizing how many plays I take all the way up here, because starting to get into higher drawdown, and so I'm going to be a little bit more picky with how I take my positions. Alright, so tomorrow there's the FOMC meeting minutes. So, you know, not great crazy news. It's Thursday, that's the big day for news. Alright, so I'm probably gonna take, I might consider taking something soon. Alright, so at this point, I don't want to just take this trade blindly. I want to see probably some rejection taking place. Some kind of indication that this is the peak that we're experiencing right here before price decides to make its move down. Again, it's because it's not at a major level of resistance, and so I'm needing to see some kind of rejection or indication within the candle formations now, not just since we're not at a level. I need to see something else. Okay, so the M15 is my best shot right now, and so I'm gonna have to wait about 10 minutes for this candle to close. But what I'm looking at is the candle formation. So the wick at the top, body rejection of the previous candle open. So basically it closed above this level, and if it's a full body, even if it closes where it is right now, that's good enough. But the lower this closes, and the stronger it closes, the better that signal is. And it's possible that I might even do a bigger trade on that position. So like a 0.5 lots instead of 0.25. Yeah, at least my swap is positive, right? Mad Maniac, yeah. I know. Not adding much to this, but I'll take it. So I think that my biggest chance for today is seeing this come in as a rejection. This would be really great for me, because then I might see more down movement the rest of the session if I see a rejection right here, and at least into level 1. And this could be the start of some good movement down, but it's not looking like it's coming in yet. I still got about 7 minutes left of this candle. So. So you can see where my take profit is on the US 30 and where my entries are. Um, it's not too far away, and I could hit that by the end of today or even tomorrow. And this would be a really big profit on my account, but hopefully gold cooperates so I don't have to end up taking a loss on that. So it would offset gold. This would be a pretty big gain of maybe about 7% or something like that. Maybe more if the price does end up pushing down. So I don't think I'm going to get the rejection on the M15. The USD seems like it's got other plans this week. I mean, so at this point, this move on the upside was kind of priced into the data that was releasing. So it was the scenario where I say maybe this was priced into what was happening today, and yeah, it looks like it is. I'm not sure if it's going to continue to keep moving up at this point, but I will place a trade up here at the top. Or I might just wait. I might wait for a rejection actually at one of these next levels. Alright, so the pound USD is just about to hit a significant level of resistance. Well, before here, 1.263. Same thing for the EU. It's not a major level, but there is a pretty big gap though from this level to the next. So it's possible that it could find resistance there. So it's only a few pips away from that. So the bleeding could stop for me pretty soon. We're just pretty much starting into New York trading. And I think it could go either way for me today, where this could deepen or things could turn around. It's a pretty good M1 rejection if it can come in here strong. I would consider taking it if it closed strong, but it didn't close strong here. So the bit of a wick. So if it was a full body, I might have taken that. All right, so pound is at its resistance now. That's my biggest hint at this point. This is the biggest level of resistance on pretty much all the pairs, and you can see the gap here is pretty big, substantial at 25 pips. I mean, it's kind of stopping. Gold's kind of stopping up here at 2029. At least it's not blowing past this level yet. Alright, so I just hit 7% drawdown, which is the highest I've had on this sequence. And price still staying under level 2 on the US 30. Alright, so the gold is finally breaking out out beyond this level. Alright, so I'm going to be watching level 2 at the top for possible entry. Alright, see how this interacts with this level. Man, really trying to push through. That's a pretty big in one candle beyond level 4. About 6 pips. There's a bit of confusion here, for sure, on what's happening. USD still pushing up against the CAD, but falling on pretty much every other pair. This is getting weird, and it's probably because we're just after the holiday. I think that there's still gonna maybe be a USD buy-in here pretty soon. That's kind of a bit of a rejection. It's not. It's again on the M1. It's not amazing. It's not enough for me to take. We're still just under level 2 anyway. How's it going, CS? Yeah, I don't see any major levels of resistance on gold for a bit. At least just looking at it with my eyes here, instead of using the support and resistance indicator. Just making sure that I didn't miss anything. And at this point, yeah, it is weird that we just blew right past this level like it was almost nothing. There was a bit of a pullback right here, but pushing right into it again, and then almost blowing right past level 2 as well. And nothing from, or not much from the CAD. The CAD CPI just running against the actual CAD, but almost having no effect on other pairs at this point. All right, so for those that are just joining in, yeah, I'm in drawdown on gold, looking for it to push down. Was hoping that it would push down into the CPI data for the CAD today. It didn't. And so now I'm waiting for some kind of candle rejection. Hopefully, it would be nice if it was at the next level of resistance, which is level 2. But I'm just waiting for an actual decent rejection candle to come in on the M5 or M15 to possibly add to my position here. And hopefully get this to start moving down with that rejection on the M5 or M15. But haven't seen that yet, so just kind of waiting it out. I don't really know what's driving Forex pairs and gold up, though, right now. There's not much news. Typically, I would think that the stock market indices would be driving the markets right now with not a lot of news this week, and also price coming out of a holiday. So correlations are off. I don't know if it's temporary or if it's something that is going to bleed into the rest of the session today, with this pushing up further and into tomorrow's session. My stop loss for my trades typically is anywhere from 15 to 20%, but I could push it all the way to 30% depending on the situation. And right now my count is still very positive. So far this week, just 0.10% closed out. And really just push right through that level 4 like it was almost nothing too. So resistance levels aren't showing much reaction on any of these pairs yet. Same thing with the EU. Showed a reaction back here when price was hitting these levels, but eventually just blew right past it, and also this level 3. So about to hit level 2, see if there's any kind of reaction there. And that's the thing, is that when price decides that it's going to just push beyond these levels, that's when, and it depends on what's happening with the markets, what's driving this right now, and as of now, I don't really know what's driving this, and I can try to see if there's something else that behind the scenes that's taking place. And sometimes this happens with the market. You know, you try to understand why they're doing what they're doing, and sometimes it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And so you kind of have to roll with what's taking place and make adjustments. That's why I'm on Forex Live, is I'm trying to get some hints onto why price is moving the way it is. I don't really see any big reason for price to be moving up like this so heavily. Man, that's a pretty big candle on the GU for not having any news. Something else going on behind the scenes here that I'm not seeing yet. When you see this big of a move on the upside on like the pound without any data coming out, yeah, there's price is feeling like it's trying to get itself in a placement for something to release, or some data that's coming out, and there's no data for the USD today. All right, so pound is getting close to this next level at 1.266, or close to that. All right, so US stock market opens in about 30 minutes. And it's still pretty dead. You know, it sucks being wrong, and I've been wrong a lot of this since the end of last week. Not closing out this basket of trades or holding it for too long got me into trouble on this move. You can actually see where this took place. It actually happened live on camera too, where this move down, I was right. I was correct on this move down. But was looking for price to continue down beyond this level to the next level of support, and it reversed and ended up, and this has been the case ever since this reversal happened. And I thought it was because of indices not reacting to the PPI data. And I'm not sure about that anymore, actually. So that PPI data ended up pushing price up a bit, but at the end of the US session, there was a rejection at level 3 right here. And that's when I took this trade on the sell side, looking for this to push down into level 3 again. And I thought that once this actually started moving, so if indices started moving down into this week, that gold would also fall with it. And that hasn't been the case. So that's a correlation that's pretty majorly off for me. And like I said, you roll with it. And I still think that pullback is coming. I just don't know when, because there's not any data that's releasing tomorrow. So it's possible that this could continue to push up until to level 4, leading into the data for on Thursday, which is the PMI data across all of major currency pairs. All right, so the EU hit level 2 up here at the top. No good candles. Okay, so some kind of reaction on the EU at level 2. So that's something. It's not a whole lot yet. Yeah, I need a more reaction there. The pound is starting to pull back as well. About an 8 pip pullback. All right, so there's starting to look like some USD buying coming in right now. Let's see if it's temporary. It seems unexpected because of how price is looking. Like there's no rejection, there's no obvious rejection at any of these levels on on lower time frames on most of the major pairs. Just seeing your comment. Thanks. I'm glad that you like the stream. I show when I'm in drawdown. It's the first stream that well, the last stream was the first one that I didn't end in profit, and this one is still the trades from that last stream on the 16th. I think that they'll close out. I don't think I'm going to have a loss here. It sucks that I'm in this drawdown, but it's not like it's 15% drawdown. We're not getting close to my stop loss, at least not yet. And considering how much this has moved without a substantial pullback, let's see, my first original take is now, I'm about 300 pips away. Like, that's pretty good drawdown considering how far price has moved against me. I mean, like, that's not crazy drawdown for how much price has moved against me. That's what I mean. So my biggest worry is that in 30 minutes when New York opens, is traders will see price pushing in, that price is at level 2. This is, and again, I've loaded H4 levels as well on indices, so the US 30. And there is this small support level here that had a bit of a reaction and price pushed back into it. I'm hoping that when price opens that this pushes further down into level 3 and I can get out and profit. So there's a couple of things. This is, you know, when New York opens, I think that traders will try to push this up. That's my impression. And I wonder if that's kind of what's been taking place on gold, is that idea that move on the downside for indices is temporary. And this will push up back into level 1, at least a retest, and gold will continue to rise up once that New York open happens. So pushing back up, pushing me further in the drawdown, and also losing my hedge on this. So it's possible I could close, if I do see that, I may close this out before it pushes up too high. So looking for at least an H1 candle above level 2, and I'll probably close this out where it is and look for a possible re-entry if around level 1 here for a continuation back down. So that's scenario 1, and if it's possible that traders see that, okay, so this is the candle that I entered this trade on, or because of this candle, this reversal rejection, its placement, price reacted to it. So hopefully, I'm hoping that traders will see that and say, okay, the price has already reacted here. I'm going to sell off further, pushing this down more. And if that happens, then I might get some love on gold and Forex pairs. Man, just not good rejections on any of these time frames. So only thing I can really hope for now is an inside candle. So not great M15, M5, even the M1. It did have some small rejections here, but they weren't good enough for me to take the trade up there. So the biggest thing here is an inside candle formation is something that I could possibly take a trade off, but that doesn't close for an hour, almost an hour. It's like 50 minutes. No, if I wasn't in a drawdown with the gold, I would have taken this level 2 on the EU. Just a blind pullback on gold in no man's land. Didn't really, it was about 5 pips away from level 2. Alright, so price continues to push down. I'll look for an M15, M5 close below level 2 here for a continuation down. Um, I might be a little bit more safe and wait for this to pull all the way back and close below level 1 here. And if that takes place, and they have an M5 or M15 close below level 1, then that price will likely continue down from there. But that's the biggest hurdle at this point. All right, so this candle just opened on the M4, H4. And it could end inside. So you can see that from the previous candle, I want this candle to end bearish and inside the previous. Or it closed below the previous open in order to give a indication that level 1 is still intact, which would be really shocking if price could give me enough movement on the downside there. It would be a weird, kind of a strange rejection. So I doubt that will take place. It had to move about 60 pips. And based on how price is moving right now, I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't know. I think I'm probably not going to close this out. My US 30s. With currency pairs pushing up so high and the US 30 not really reacting, it makes me think that there's a lot of room for Forex and gold, Forex pairs and gold to push down and this to move down as well. I guess it could be a late reaction too once the market opens in the US and this pushes up and Forex pairs and gold just kind of sit there because they've already made their big move. So something to watch for in the next 15 minutes when once New York opens. Nice. Good trade on the USD CAD. Pushing into this level 2 right here, and then a big move on the upside. Yeah, it was pretty telling that price pushing down and into level 2 right before the news, and then a slingshot up, and that's typical price behavior. But didn't give me anything on any of the other pairs. Which I would expect. I probably would have expected a little bit more. Yeah, I kind of felt like this move that was happening on gold was temporary. Like I was saying before, there wasn't any kind of major rejection that was happening, giving me an impression that this was going to be a move that pushes well down into level 1. I think I'm going to use this move on the upside. I'm going to be waiting for a rejection at one of these levels. These are minor levels all the way up before level 4. I need to see some kind of indication that these weaker levels are going to show a reversal pattern. So I'm not going to just randomly take trades at these levels. I don't want you guys, if you're using this indicator, I don't want you to randomly take trades at certain levels unless they're showing heavier support and resistance, like there's a higher number. Then that's when you can just take the trade. But if they're weaker levels and not showing a lot of support and resistance, then I would wait for a candle formation at those levels to show that price may have a movement. Pushing up into New York Open. I don't have a level yet. It's going to be for my stop loss. I can see how much price needs to move before I hit my stop loss using the manual EA. So I have it on allow auto trading off. So I just wanted to show me levels. So I can set max loss here. Let's say what's 15%. So it will show me how far price needs to go with my current trade setup before I hit 15% drawdown. And you can see that that's a lot of space. So it's about 200 pips from where price is right now. So around 2050. So you can see that I have a lot of space before that happens. But as I mentioned, I want to slow down my adding cells here. I have to be a little bit more careful starting from this point. And I knew that was the case if price was going to break through this level 1, so this daily resistance. And I thought that it was going to hold here. And that's why this was my last level of defense. And then if price happened to push beyond that, that's when I have to make a new plan. So this is me basically starting my new plan and trying to see how this is going to pan out. But price since breaking this level is off to me. I expected more out of it, and actually it pushing up is strange. And as I mentioned earlier, you can't always make sense of how and why price is moving. You roll along with it, and until it starts making sense again. And so that's why I'm not just bouncing in on everything right now, entering a bunch of trades blindly. Expecting this to move down. There's got to be some kind of direction there. And so if I don't have a plan right now, then I wait till I see something panning out, or I see a price starting to make more sense, and then I start jumping in. So at this point, that hasn't happened yet, and I hate this. It's like I'm in no man's land and waiting it out. And it sucks to do a stream during this, but maybe it's good for you guys to kind of see this. Nobody wants to look at drawdown. That's not everybody. Typically, when people are watching a stream, they want to see somebody profiting, because that's cool, and you want to copy that person. So if the person's profiting, then that makes sense. I think that if you're any kind of, it doesn't matter if you're an average in trader or not. If I were watching this stream and I was like a new trader, or even when I traded after 10 years, I would want to watch this, because I would want to see how the person is interacting with the market in drawdown. And you guys know that I have a long history of working with drawdown, right? I mean, I've been doing this account for a long time, since 2021, and I was manually trading the account from June 18th till March 16th. Then my algorithm took over from all that point on, from March 22nd, 2022, all the way until November 22nd of 2023. Then I took over from November 22nd, all of 2023, until where it is right now. And that's been about 100% profit since that time. So I made about 50% on the account manually and starting out, and then 100% right now. And I've dealt with losses and drawdown and all that shit. So this is no different. But I would like to see traders online showing their drawdown instead of just their profit, their cherry-picked profit trades. It's frustrating. I don't feel like traders can learn anything. They can just see that person profiting, and what are they going to learn from that? Their trade setup, maybe? You learn the most from seeing how traders interact or avoid stop losses, or when to take a stop loss. And that's the hardest part of trading. And because I have a pretty good amount of space before my stop loss, or before I hit 15% drawdown, I have quite a bit of room to enter new levels. My impression is that I'll be looking for a new level here, and possibly another one up here at level 4. But the biggest level of resistance is going to be this daily level 1 up here at the top, and this level 4. I might just wait until these two levels. I may not even take anything at level 2 unless I see like a serious rejection. It has to be a serious rejection that's really obvious. And I don't think I'm going to see that from here all the way until at least level 4. So I'll probably do another trade here, and this will be a blind take, so I won't wait for a rejection at level 4. I'll just take a trade right up here, a pending order, and then another pending order. And this is probably going to be the top of the line, but price could move all the way up there, leading into the PMI data for the euro, or the PMI data for the USD. As mentioned before, though, this movement on the upside, this is the kind of movement that I see before data releases, before high impact data releases, and there's no high impact data. So price moving like this is trying to tell us something that we don't really know yet. So banks and institutions are driving price for no reason right now, at least that I see. And so that's why I keep trying to check Forex Live to see if there's any kind of something that's unscheduled that's taking place. Something that somebody said about a possible interest rate change, or cut that's happening. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I hope I'm giving you guys at least like decent commentary while I'm in this drawdown. All right, so the pound has hit the next level, the last big level of resistance. So this, in my opinion, would be a good place to enter a short position on the pound USD. So just it barely tapped it. It was pretty close. So this would be a good place for a short, and especially considering that prices kind of pushed through this level 1 and this level 4. So this could be a good place for a pullback. So 26.5. There is still a pretty big gap to the next level for the EU. About 28 pips. Oh man, and indices going down, but it's still about 5 minutes until New York Open. Is that a pre-market move, or is this placement? I doubt this is placement. The U.S. stock market doesn't usually work with placement, or indices don't, like where they don't push down before news releases or market open and they swing up. But yeah, I'm grateful for that hedge. I know that a lot of people that are copying my trades here didn't get these US 30 trades, so that hedge isn't helping them out like it is on my account here. The take profit point for gold is that's not a break even. You can see it might take profit way down here. That's going to be adjusted. Actually, I could probably just get rid of that now. Since that's an old take profit from before this level was entered, I think, or when this level was entered. So break even, you can see again, if you go to my manual EA, you can see I have a level of about 1% profit, which is probably what I'm going to be looking for on this trade setup. Right now, 1% is 2010, and that is 180 pips where it stands. And it's because I don't have any trades up at the top right now. So I stopped entering levels at this level 1. And so once I add more levels, this will move up much higher up. All right, so I'm going to find out here if I'm going to lose my hedge on the US 30. Yeah, Mad Maniac, I just, it's unfortunate that so few people show how they manage losing trades or drawdown. And it's because nobody wants to show that on YouTube. But you also might not trust them. You don't want to watch somebody that's constantly losing, right? You want to find somebody that at least is coming out with a profit after a few months. But I wish that it was something that traders on YouTube had the balls to show. All right, so here we are going into the New York Open, and right off the bat, we have an M5 impulse candle. And this is kind of just how I feel that the U.S. market will go here, is that they'll see this as a potential opportunity to drive this up right off this level of support, and try to recover the damage that has been done from the close of last week. And because I'm not making a whole lot of sense of what's taking place on gold, it's possible that I may close this out here. Just deposit more margin. Yeah, right. Yeah, just keep adding to, if I have losses, you just keep adding more balance, right? That's the safe thing to do. Okay, so we're getting some volatility here though, pushing into this. I'm very close to maybe closing this out. And it sucks because I'm going to lose my hedge closing this out for profit. And it won't be a ton, but I just see a little bit too much potential for this to run up into uh, my trade right here, or my entry. All right, closed it out for a small gain, and I may look for a re-entry. It's unfortunate that I gave up quite a bit of it, but there's too much potential for this to hit level 1. If it rejects level 1, I may enter again. But now I'm going to have to hold on to my gold hedge. Oh, sorry, my gold trades in negative drawdown, so it looks a lot heavier now. And this is, I mentioned this before, the U.S. Open, that this was a possibility. I was hoping that the other way would be the other way around, but it's possible that traders saw that Forex pairs in gold have been rising. So what's the point in pushing this down? So. No, there's a lot of profit. I lost a lot of profit on that, uh, but still, I was able to close out something. So this will update in about 5 minutes. Oh, sorry, 1 minute. I think that there's a chance the price will hold here at this level one, uh, but I think it's going to try to break and retest this level three again. All right, so gold is, well, gold is moving a little bit. Change my focus back onto it. Okay, all right, so that could be a rejection candle in 25 minutes on gold. Uh, the wick, small wick on the top. If the body closes below the previous open, so I need this to push back down, and that would be a rejection into level two. And if it's heavier and goes even to level one, that would be pretty great. Now that would suck, because if that is a rejection coming in on gold, then the US 30 may stop at level one. All right, so I think I took about like 0.87%. I was in, I think, a total of about 3% at one point on that trade, on the US 30. So that sucks. You know, I lost around 2% profit on that. But I wanted to wait to see, how price opened up, and didn't open up in my favor. Oh, that rejection candle is not looking as good anymore. It's still about 23 minutes out, but it looks like the forming of it is not working out as well. I took a trade with the manual EA EU at 1.07973. Zero 7 and 73. Okay, so it was right near this level 3 right here. Yeah, I would look, if I don't know if you placed a trade here, but I would look to do this one up the top if price happens to push up that high. It might just all of a sudden randomly reverse in between. That's been the case happening this week, where prices is kind of ignoring support and resistance levels, and that's been the case across most pairs, except for the USD CAD, since I had news today on price bouncing off of it. But it's still been pretty sloppy on some levels. So, like for example, level 5 here, look how clean this rejection was multiple times on the M15, and then coming down and being kind of a sloppy rejection on level 2. You can see that on the 1 hour, it's a little bit cleaner there, where price hit a wall right there, came down, broke the level on one H1 candle, closed above, so showing that this level is still intact, and then having that impulse candle from after the news. So the EU has been better with levels earlier. I think since the start of the week, hitting level 4 here, coming back down into level 5 and bouncing back and forth, and then having that breakout, and then pushing through these 3 levels. And then we're back at this really heavy resistance level up here at the top. So I think this is going to be the top of the move in this zone. I don't know if price is going to reach there before tomorrow's data, but my guess is that that's what's going to take place. I guess that would be also no. There's no data tomorrow, so it'd be interesting to see if it takes this long to push into Thursday's data. So it looks like it's rejecting off of that level 1. I don't think I'll take another trade on it though, which sucks at this point. I'm more interested in gold now than the US 30. So the US 30 is not something I trade very often. It's pretty rare. Like I saw this really great opportunity, which I mentioned in my Discord. So I'll mention it here again, just so you guys understand why I took this position. So lower high, rejection candle, counter. It was a continuation candle with the wick below, full body above level 1, with the impression that this could try to break out. The next candle failed to break out a level 3, gave a rejection right at the end of the session, right before the holiday. Entered my position here, price pushed down into level 2, and is having a pullback. I thought that this might take place today. I hate how it is, and then pushing into level 1. Now, I think that price kind of needs to reject off of level 1 in order for this candle that rejected earlier to stay intact, and for this downward momentum to continue. If this level breaks and pushes back into level 3, then I think that this move on the downside that I was predicting becomes a lot less likely. So it's pretty key on level 1 holding, and I didn't want to wait out holding my positions there and taking that risk of it breaking that level. So that's why I closed it out when I did. Yeah, the CJ selling right now. I think it was selling earlier as well. I thought I saw a trade yesterday. Yes, the Crackerjack is in. Let's see the Crackerjack live. Doesn't look like it's had its last trade was on the 16th, so nothing on that account. Yeah, so at this point, it's looking like that formation is still going to remain intact. And like I said, I could have held my trades here with the possibility of going into drawdown on that pair as well. But I don't want to double dip into drawdown. That's just not smart. So if this rejects at level 1, that's great for gold finally doing something. I love that. Love for rejection to come in here on gold in the next 15 minutes. You can see that that may be taking place right now, which is a huge deal. So I can actually show something in this stream today. Well, hopefully this pushing down into level 1. It's right now already a rejection if it closed out where it is right now. And if this closes out, the lower this closes out, the better, because it did barely make a new high. So that is still a rejection. It's not like an obvious big wick at the top rejection, but it's still a rejection because it made a new high from the previous candle, even with its wick at the top. And if we get a full body close, that is a really good sign for a big, pretty substantial move down. I would guess I wouldn't hit profit today. I don't think there's not going to be enough volatility for that. But it could mean that this level 1 is intact and going to hold, which is a good sign for me for this getting out of no man's land. Or starting, like I was mentioning before, starting to make sense of what's taking place. All right, 15 minutes before I look at taking another position if this rejects. Now, what lot size? That is going to depend on where price closes for me. If it continues to push down below level 1, I might enter 0.5 lots and not do another 0.25. Because that would be a more sure bet for me on this pushing down further, because now it would show an unusual but a rejection on the H4 possibly. So like this candle closing below H4 on the H4 would be a big deal too. I think I might wait for the H1 for the H4 to add to that. So add a 0.25 lots trade if this closes below the previous candle open and it's an actual rejection. Then I'll wait for the H4 to close, hopefully inside or even reject as well. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll just enter on the H1 rejection if it comes in. You know, sometimes trading kind of sucks when you get knocked out of a position. It's like a profitable one where it was in more profit than you actually closed out. because you get spooked, but you get spooked for good reason. It makes sense. If I wasn't in drawdown on gold and I was holding this US 30 trade, I may not have closed it out where I did. So the drawdown on gold, these gold trades, spooked me out of this position for good reason. Alright, so gold is bouncing off this level 2, so push beyond, coming back into it, using it as support now. So that's going to hurt that rejection that I was hoping to have come in about 10 minutes. So not going to probably show that. Which sucks. You know, I wanted to get some kind of movement down. And it might still happen, it's just not going to be an obvious rejection that likely comes in 10 minutes. Alright, so tomorrow's data is just the FOMC meeting minutes. I'm not expecting much from that. Biggest news day is going to be on Thursday. Well, you know, for this stream, it's going to be kind of boring. So what I'm going to be doing for this is, and I can't really take another position. I mean, I could potentially take a sell trade on the pound, which is what I would consider right now. And, you know, I could do it. I still got a lot of margin now since I've closed out my US 30 trade. And I don't mind stacking this late in the game. Let me see here. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take this. So looking at I took this with the EA, and it shows the P&L that's happening right now. Well, actually, it's not working correctly with this version. Have to get that fixed. But the let's see if it shows. Oh, I ended up taking that with the one-click trading, so that's why it's not showing. Okay, so you can see where my take profit of 0.2% would be on this pound USD trade. I wanted to be close to where the level 4 is. Yeah, I think I'll leave it at 0.25 profit. So now that I just changed it, so I took the trade with the one-click trading over here on the left side. I'm going to get rid of that now. And I changed the magic number to 0. So now the trade will be managed by the EA instead. So we'll close out the trade once profit hits, once the trade hits 0.25% profit. And that will be my trade for the session. So I'm going to just wait it out since nothing's really happening on gold right now. It's not going to reject. So I'm going to see if I can get some of this action on the pound, and I'll stay on for the next 30 minutes or so to see what takes place here. And then decide that to maybe end the stream at that point. I don't want to sit around, and I don't want you guys to sit around either if nothing's really taking place. You know, so not a lot of action. And that's typically why I like to trade on days that have more news, like Thursday. That will be my next stream day, because there was a lot of news that day, so price should be pretty volatile. Yeah, so gold trades are in 6% drawdown currently. In most cases, I think that I'm not worried about drawdown until it gets to about 10%. And once it's at 10%, that's when I start worrying a bit more. And since we're not there yet, it's not where my headspace is. Starting to see a little bit of reaction from the pound USD. Hopefully this candle closes strong, but this is a day I would say is a bad day to trade. This is not an ideal trading situation. But how do you know that this is a bad day? You don't know before the day starts. You start trading it, and you see how price starts interacting with support and resistance levels, or just price in general. You're not making a lot of sense of it, but there's no way to really stop trading if you started that day, and you can't really wait to see what happens with price trying to stay out of it to see if it's going to be a bad day, because then you miss most of the volatility. So people that say you have to trade at the right times, you have to wait for the right days, it's like that's a bunch of BS because you're gonna be stuck in that bad trading day uh, after the fact. All right, pound moving, gold's still running up, and the Euro-US dollar starting to push down too. Looks like it is trying to reject level 2, even though it's past it already. All right, so the USD, the UJ is starting to get a little bit concerning. So you can see all the levels grouped up here, right? And then all the levels grouped up down here. This level breaking would be not a great thing for me, because that means that the USD is selling off more and it's finally breaking this key level of support. So I've been wanting it to stay above this level 1 because there is a pretty massive gap between this level and this one. So between these two zones, there's a really big gap. So I need price to kind of stay within this and push back up in order for this to show weakness on other pairs, or the USD to show strength, which would cause the gold to move down and the pound also to move down as well, pushing me into profit. So there's something that's interesting happening. If you look on the 1 hour, you mark this level, and it's probably showing on my indicator if I loaded a 1 hour chart, which would just put a million lines on chart. But you can see the rejection and where the body of the candle is right here. So right before this impulse news candle, right? So I marked this right there. And if you see where price is reacting right now, so pushing up above it on the H1 and then closing, this candle closing just below it. So it'll be interesting to see what this candle does, because this could be a 1 hour rejection, not a 1 hour, showing that 2028 might be a significant place for price to hold, at least price to slow down here. So this next candle would need to close probably bearish in order for this to show that this is rejecting off at this 1 hour 2028 level. It's too bad. The pound USD trying to reject off of level 1, level 4, and then has this candle on the M5 pushing right up above it again. So this level is still inconsistent, indecision around it. Alright guys, I think I'm going to end in about 10 minutes. I'm going to see where price is at that time. That'll be about a 2-hour session. There's just not a whole lot happening here in this session. I mean, price has been running up, and gold is continuing to run up as well. It might be finding resistance at 2028 on the H1 support resistance, but just not enough price movement at this point to keep me on stream for very much longer. I mean, and we're only in the volatility for the next hour and a half, really. And since this is coming out of a holiday, there's not much news today. Just not a whole lot of movement taking place. Thanks, Mad Maniac. See you on Thursday. Right, you could see how, you could actually even see how price is moving in and out of this 2028 level. On the M15. So pushing down below it, back up into it, wick candle, and possible bearish candle under the level. It's not good enough for me to enter at 2028 though. I'm still going to wait for close, probably an H1 closure below level 1. If that happens today, great. Then I'll enter another trade, another 0.25 lot trade there, with the idea that this will extend further down below that. So if that happens today, awesome. If it happens tomorrow, great. But just looking for price to reject at levels, key levels, or show continuation by having H1 candle closures below or above these levels. So in this case, it would be below level 1 on the daily, right at, I think it's around 2024 is where I'm looking for price to close below, so I can catch more of this movement on the downside. But this would be the start of something. 2028, 1 hour rejection, comes in, closes below 2028 on this candle right here. That would be 2 H1 candle closures below that level. with the idea that now the biggest hurdle would be the level 1 at 2023, and that's looking better if I get to H1 closures above 2028. So it's like this process, it's like this domino effect. You look at the time frames, and does it reject on the M5? Does it reject on the M15? Does it reject on the M30? So if it starts rejecting on the lower time frames and it starts and it like domino effects into the higher time frames, then you can see the potential of that move. So it always starts on, almost always starts on the lower time frames, and you can see that, and that's how you can catch a trade early before it starts its big moves, is by catching it at that rejection or that continuation on the lower time frame, and then holding that once it also shows itself on the higher time frame. So my guess is that by Thursday, when I start streaming on Thursday, I don't know how this is going to go. I would think that I would get a significant pullback before Thursday. So maybe into later in today's session, and then tomorrow this has a pullback. My guess is that the pullback won't be able to break. It will struggle to break at level 4 right here, or around 2019 or 2020. That's where the next daily level is. So there's two daily levels. You may not be able to see them. There's one right here, and there's one right here. So I think that price has to break these two levels and to show more movement on the downside. And I think it's going to struggle with that until there's some news to really push it in that direction. So first hurdle right here, second hurdle, and I think that it will probably bounce off of that until Thursday's trading. So that will be probably the extent of the pullback, and I don't think it's going to be enough to get me out of the trade unless I stack higher up with more positions at the top. That might be enough to get me out, but I'm probably not going to try for that because it's going to put me in too deep at the top of this move, just in case it continues higher up. So again, I have to be really careful here with how I stack my trades, because I'm now in around 300 pips drawdown from my first position, and the next big levels of resistance are quite a few pips above. So the first one is around 90 pips, and the second is about 135 pips. So I want to keep enough margin and my drawdown low enough until price reaches that level. So if I add a position, it may only be one in this whole entire move all the way up until level 4. And at that point, I just want to manage my drawdown and look for that bigger move once the news releases, which I think that there is a possibility that price will push up on gold up until this data on Thursday, and at least until the Euro PMI and the German PMI data. So there's that possibility that we have a small pullback today into level 1, or maybe even this other level 1, and then we push back up into the data on Thursday, and then price has that pullback. All right, so hopefully indices can give me something today where they push down and stop this bleeding on gold. So far, there's been a disconnect with indices and Forex and commodities, just pretty much every market right now. All right, I think that's going to be where I end the session today. Thanks you guys for joining, and I'll be back on Thursday And we'll see. Hopefully these trades, maybe they'll be closed out. You can check my account here. It's public to see where my trades are. If I have any take profit levels as well. You can also see my drawdown and what's taking place there. And there is a link of this account in the description below. All right, unfortunate day. I did come out with some profit still, from indices, 0.87%. So hopefully I'll be able to close out these trades later on this week and get my account with back at without any drawdown.